can't deny. Big men, big moves, earth shaking grow. Why sumo? Tell me why you're doing sumo. Is it power?
So we started deep into the waters and we jumped right into the mawashi making, right? And I had to. It was in the front of my mind. I literally couldn't get past that. But since we dived in a little bit, and we will circle back, but
Sure.
I kind of want to find out how and why you started doing sumo. Like how did you see it? I know you're in New York and I think there's 2 clubs there. There used to be more back in the day, so maybe you're a part of that previous wave.
No. So how and why? I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6" on a good day, solid 350. I've always been heavy my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, from down to 240 all the way up to 460 pounds. You know, I've been there. So I'm kind of at a happy medium right now. In 2020, when I was losing a bunch of weight, I dropped like 100 pounds down to where I am now. I saw on Reddit, someone was like, hey, in the sports subreddit, they're like, hey, a lot of y'all don't know who he is, but one of the greatest of all time of sumo has just retired. And the way he went out was just incredible. So I watched Hakuho go full Zensho Yusho. And I think it was July of 2020. Was it 2021? I think it might have been 2021. And I was just like, wow, like it just challenged all of the assumptions that I had made about sumo.
Yeah.
For the longest time, people have been saying, oh, you must do football. Oh, you must do, basketball. Did you play this? Did you play that? And I was like, yeah, terribly. I don't have the processing speed for team sports or just the foot speed for team sports. But when I was playing football, I always enjoyed I think they call it like the ring of fire, the one-on-one.
Yeah.
You face down with somebody else. That was my jam. Like I could do that. I could focus on one person, and so to see a more something I could connect with more, I got really interested in just watching sumo. For me, it was the stories that sold me on sumo. It happens in a game, or it happens, you have one game a week, but in team sports, but then and in boxing or MMA, you have one fight a year. I think it is that, or if you want to be a fan of a wrestler. These guys are fighting 15 days in a row, 6 times a year. Like you can invest in the rise and the fall, the comedy and the tragedy of an individual sumo wrestler, especially since they have so much personality in the cases of like Uda or Tofuji or Hakuho and Teru for their faults and everything like that. But they have personality. They have this aura to them that you just can't it's terribly entertaining.
Do you watch the long, or do you watch it cut up?
Oh, it's the timing for the live stream. I usually go through Nato for everything that I could. I'd watch Jason's All Sumo too. I love the English commentary when I can find it, but I'll say watching it in Japanese has helped me figure out a lot of what the names for things are,
right?
The different grips, the different throws, etc. But when I started watching it in 2021, I was actually living in North Carolina, in Eastern North Carolina. And I was like, I'd love to try this. I don't know if I really want to wrestle too much just because I had a lot of knee problems back then. But I was like, I want to try this. Didn't have the opportunity to do that. Didn't know that there was even an opportunity to do that. I was like, there's no way there's a sumo club or someone I could, who's gonna want to sumo wrestle me. And when my now wife and I moved to New York, I was looking for just a group to watch sumo with, just to watch and kind of fangirl about. And I ended up finding some old Reddit posts from, I think, 2021, where Oscar, our club president, was setting up the club, reached out to him on Instagram, and came to the first club practice that we had in a mat. out
Yeah.
in Astoria, Queens, and I just watched for a little bit. And I wasn't really planning on getting in the ring. It was me, Chris, who I don't know if you've interviewed Chris or not. I think
Oh
he
yeah,
was
Kurt Freeze.
Chris Williams. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love him.
It was he, Oscar, another random who ended up not staying with the club, and myself. And I've been doing it since. Yeah, they're like, all right, toss on a belt. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z. We're gonna get going, and it has helped me so much with hip flexibility because I've been overweight my whole life. I was very kind of
Mhm.
like caved in and very quad dominant, and it's helped my posture, hip flexibility, balance. It's been a lot of fun too.
What's your favorite fundamental movement in sumo?
Fundamental movement. I want to say Shiko, but that's not true. I think it's Sudiashi. I have a lot of fun with Sudiashi. Um, Shiko, it's just tough for me to get too high on it, and I know that's not the point, but that's what I want is to
Yeah.
get the really impressive, super tall.
Of course, the 180-degree split while standing on what, like that's what
Yeah,
we're all shooting for.
the
We all
Koto
want
or the Abi Shiko that they do. Oh my gosh!
it. Like,
Every time they pull that off, I'm just like, oh, like I can't even fathom it.
hear me out. I think a perfect Shiko might be better than a backflip.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like in the peacocking of peacocking. You know what I mean? Like it's really impressive.
Yeah, it's like I put that perfect Chico, that like 180, super impressive, like solid balance Chico up there with like stuff like the planches that you see people doing, or the impressive calisthenics moves, because it's just impressive. It's incredible. The guy that demonstrated Chico on one of Sumo Prime Time's videos, he did a great job demonstrating it too. It was just rock solid. Like seeing like the depths from which he was shifting his weight to come up on one leg was just incredibly impressive. It's like you see a guy doing that and you're like, how on earth is he still in the lower divisions? I just don't understand.
That
Um,
that is one of the things, like the fundamental work, when you look at it, especially when you first starting, you're like, oh, that's cool. You just lift your leg. And then there's little details in there and toe position and base leg position. But you said Siriashi, and that's one of my favorites too. I think it's literally my favorite fundamental movement. And I think it's because it is the most, like, the Shiko is unique, but I think Siriashi is even more unique to
mhm,
sumo itself, right? Like the hip positioning, the foot positioning, and then the different part of the foot on the floor, and
mhm.
then having to adjust your Siriashi depending on the surface that you're on also plays a role, which I think that's not, most people don't think about that so much. I like to think that sumo's kind of like tennis, where sometimes you're on the clay, sometimes you're on the like the sanpaku canvas, and then sometimes you're on whatever the ones in nationals were, right? Like each one is a little different, and your
Yeah,
Siriashi will need to adjust for each one.
I'll say I think seeing the people who went to Worlds last year fighting on clay and showing up and bringing those lessons back to wearing socks on the dohyo during practice bouts like Edo does. I've tried that a few times. It's a different sport. It's just a different
Yeah.
sport when on clay on a slipperier surface. So um, it's terribly entertaining to see the
Mhm.
differences, and to have that brought back. I think that's going to make us more competitive on a world stage too, because if you're practicing a harder version of your sport, you're able to handicap yourself in a way that is meaningful, um, to get better at something. I think that's solid.
Um, what, I know you guys go through a lot of kimarates. What's your favorite kimarate in sumo?
Tsugidashi. By far, given my height, it's just a lot of fun to be able to just fully, neuter somebody, like lift them completely up off the ground. Um, And like as people learn more and more, it's that much harder to get them into a bad enough position to completely lift them off the ground. So it gets rarer and rarer as people get better. But it's something that's fun to push myself to try for. And I have some natural advantages just because I've got long arms and I'm tall. I can generally get an overhand grip if I want to.
You're like a good person of Hakuseho, you know, like an alternative reality. You're not just beating
like the
people up.
comparisons, I'll tell you that. Yeah, he'd go for either that or I think people would jokingly call him wait for Nage instead of the
Yeah, he was by far one of the most hated people. I think I popped on to Justin's sumo and breakfast or breakfast and a basho thing, and I was like, whoa. I mean, he has a unique style. He's like, it's not sumo. I'm like,
it's not sumo. The sumo fans saying, you know, what's not sumo is the oldest meme in the history of the book. Like it's just like, oh, it's a henka, that's not sumo. Well, it's a valid rule, you know. Like if you got to make decisions, you got to like save up energy. It's a risk. It's a risk. But you know, people talking about henka, people talking about, you know, lazy sumo or retreating sumo. So many times I hear people who are like, you know, that's not, you know, they can't be doing that. I'm like, yeah, they can. It's allowed. If it's allowed, they can do it. It's sumo. You know, it's not the sumo you want to see, but that's okay. Then do your style of sumo. Leave them alone.
And I think there's been like an evolution of sumo as it's grown. Like, you know, like the tachi itself. There used to be a point where they didn't put the knuckles down and they just kind of stepped in there. Are you ready? You ready? All right, let's just go. Right.
Some of them are fun to watch too.
They're super fun.
It's just like, it's surprising because, right, you know, it makes, you know, there's more to expect when you see the hands reaching to the ground. You're like, okay, there's anticipation. But when in the older matches like the Chiyono Fuji era, when just seeing like the two guys super calm walk up, look at each other, and it's like, it's very surprising.
Who is your favorite sumo wrestler? I like to do a two-parter on it. So I would like amateur, and then but I want to start pro first. So your favorite pro, and it could be someone retired if that's where you want to go. But you know, like current is fine too.
I'd say so. Most of my history has been watching the modern pros. I'd say active right now, Asanayama is terribly interesting to watch. I just how dominant he is with that left hand inside. It's been awful and gut wrenching to watch him struggle, especially with how close he was to Yoke or to the Tsuna. But it's heartwarming to see him perform well. I'm also a huge fan of the muscle babies, as I have started referring to them as, though it's not the most respectful thing to refer to them as. They just look like really strong babies. It's not the kindest thing, but Midori Fuji is terribly fun to watch. I'm trying to think. There's Asakoryu is terribly fun to watch. Midori Fuji is like, it's like he's the reason I practice Katasukashi. He's the reason I teach Katasukashi. I'm teaching it to smaller guys, and I'm like, this is what you use against the heavy dude. So they're up there, but I think I really do miss like the era of the super heavies. I think we're kind of moving away from the super heavies now. Guys like oh gosh. He wears a silver belt. He had a bum leg for a while. He's kind of fallen out of.
Are you talking about like Tochinosen?
No, like guys like Tochinosen he kind of worked his way up to the super heavies. I can't remember his name, but the guys that would like regularly clock in like 450, 400, 430. You know, you still see guys like Onosa.
Aoyama's out basically.
Aoyama. He's like one of the last. Kaisei's gone. T. His name starts with a T, but I'm just blanking on it right now.
I'm sure people down below are like, "Oh God, is that person?" Hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
Middle of the day, all right. We're working.
I'd say he's one of my favorites. I like his style a lot. Like that, just super heavy bullying, dominating the ring. You know, not like pressing your opponent and not giving them a chance to really like like, execute their style is a lot of fun to watch.
I do think it's fascinating that we went. I think Justin coined the little thick boys, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's the little thick boys, and then there's these giant frames, just like where they're not like Ozekia's what's his name, Onosato, right?
Mhm.
Like Onosato, solid frame, like big,
Hmm.
right? And it's like you kind of got those two, right? Like that's the two body types that seem to be working right now.
Yeah.
And it's not forever, but it all kind of happens in a wave.
Yeah. Um, no, it's a lot of fun seeing like how, like, what the meta, I hate that term, but what's working shifts over time. And I think
Mhm.
some of that is just because of, I don't know if it's not to demean or anything like that. I think it's just because there's fewer people involved in sumo, so people are trying to find new ways to make it work, or
Mhm.
new ways to like win and exceed, or succeed in sumo, and work their way up the Banzuke. I think we're going to see smaller and smaller wrestlers making their way into, the top divisions, just because there's a drought in recruitment. So until JSA is able to do something about that, I think we will see smaller and smaller guys, like the Asakoryus, Ishizakis, work their ways in, and I love to watch it. It's great. It's like it's it's almost like a kind of a gradual shift down, in terms of. I do think Enho is going to make his way back, and I'm going to be so
You
hyped.
think so? You think so?
I'd love to see him in Dohyo.
I think we're all hoping for it, but I don't know. I don't know. It feels like it's been such a long time, you
He's doing
know?
well, and Makushita. He's doing well. 6-1, like Makushita 30, should put him in the top 15. I think it'll take one more rock solid performance for him to get in there. But my favorite thing for him to do is to get on the Banzuke and just mic drop and be like, I'm done. I'm gonna go get my Kabu. Is that what it is? Elder stock. I can't remember what.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my elder stock. I'm on the Banzuke. I'm not wrestling. um, he was a lot of fun to watch too. Even as he was getting more and more injured, it's just
Right.
I think the issue was the super heavies figured him out, fairly well,
Right.
and that was his prime target. Like, he was feasting on the real heavy guys, and once they figured him out, it just became more and more difficult to execute his style. But I think against the lighter guys that are there now, especially a lot of the younger guys that are coming up through judo, I think he's got a good shot, of making his way back up. So I want to see him make his way back up at least.
And who do you I know this one's always weird because we're in amateur sumo, and so
Sure.
I also open it up to international. So if there's like an international athlete that you're like, I like this person, is
Yeah.
there an amateur sumo wrestler that you're like, this is my guy?
Um, I'd say watching Jay's performance,
Mhm.
at nationals last year was incredibly impressive. It was nice to get the chance to meet him. Like, to see, like, he just has the frame for sumo. He's got the mindset, it seems like, for sumo. To see like the way he approaches the sport with the amount of like reverence and respect that he has for both his opponent and just for how he wants to perform on his own. I think he got frustrated at nationals because he wasn't really able to execute his style. But I don't think that that's going to discourage him in the slightest. I think he's going to do really well and come back rock solid. I want to see him competing at Rollertown. I think he'll be there. And I know, San Antonio is going to have their own tournament, I think, at some point in the year. They usually do, don't they?
Yeah. He's only been training for a little over a year, right? So he has a
Jay?
little over, yeah,
Jay, really?
Jay. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's a little over a year. Like in a year, a little over 2 years. Because in 1 year he got to nationals.
Yeah.
And his first tournament, if I remember correctly, was the Consulates Cup.
Okay.
And so not this year's past, but the one before that. And I got him in open weight. And
Ah.
and I remember because it's not a secret. JJ is a judo guy, so he came in and was like, "I'm gonna throw him," and I was like, "No, you're not gonna throw him."
You're not going to throw me.
Yeah, so I like blocked him and then threw him, And from that point on, that's the only time we've ever matched up.
Mhm.
And I have that on him. And then he's like, the disrespectful walk off. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've dissected it. I actually, it's a like your body's tight as you're kind of doing sumo. You're trying to like be framed in. And then there's a point where like you win and you're just like, all right, it's time to relax. And
Yeah.
I kind of do the Mr. McMahon, like a little bit of that. Just a little bit. And it's worse in slow motion. I've seen it in slow motion. I'm
Oh
like,
no.
I look like a jerk.
You know, the David and Goliath matches are my favorite. Like, as a big guy, you'd be like, well, you'd be rooting for the big guy. I'm like, nah, I always want to see the little guy win.
It's the underdog.
Yeah.
It's the underdog.
Like that's why it's so much fun to watch the like, what did you call them, little thick boys? That might be a better one than muscle babies. That's
I like muscle babies, but when you say muscle babies, I was thinking like Takedo Fuji, right? Like just
yeah,
the little trapzillas.
Yeah, I love, dude. Him and his chicken legs. I can't. I love like like he's so powerful. He's so quick. But
Also,
these skinny legs.
His asymmetrical like stance too. I'm like, that's not supposed to work. Like, there's so many things here that shouldn't work, but they do.
But they do.
But they do. But
they do. Yeah. So I definitely picked Jay out just because seeing how well he performed. And like just like the way that he carried himself at nationals, he was very much like a rallying point. It seemed like at Worlds, it was fun to watch him compete there. I think he was kind of kicking himself just because I saw like what the Poles were doing when it came to. They had this move that they would do where they'd pop high to get you to faint and then drop and drive. I saw that executed time and time again, and the guys that competed at Olympia did the same thing. And I was just like, it's hard because you want to focus so much on what your opponent's going to do, but that's going to get you into a bad place if you're trying to do sumo. There's so much that happens so fast. You can't prep for it. You can't prep for like thinking about, oh, I'm going to mind game this. You have to focus on what you're going to do. It's
you kind of only really have it off of the tachi. Like
Yeah.
you can kind of set up like a weird little trick if you're like, oh, this person steps with this foot forward, or maybe the hands are always here. Like you have that you can kind of adjust a little bit, but outside of that, you're going to do what your body kind of wants to do.
What is it? I think the military phrase is you always fail to the level of your training, or you always sink to the level of your training. And that's something that we took away as a lesson from nationals, because we like to do practice bouts.
Right.
But I think we need to focus a lot more on solid shiko, solid shuriashi, solid drills, lateral movement, turning movements, things like that. And I've been trying to work that in from the coaching aspect since we've been back from nationals. So, yeah.
You're married, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
What does your wife think about you doing sumo?
She's super supportive. She'd lived in New York before we moved here together, and I had. So it took some convincing to get me to want to move here, but once I was here, I was committed. It was. I don't really derive happiness from where I am necessarily. It's about like what I'm doing. And so I kind of set about a plan. I'm like, well, how can I find community here? How can I build something for myself here? And I think that it was like by sinking into my hobbies, board games, D&D, and like longboarding. But I wanted to focus more on the active hobbies if I could. And so that's where I wanted to like sink in with sumo. And she has been nothing but encouraging when it comes to seeing me perform. I will say she did want to fight Osuno Rashi after he slapped me in the face twice when I competed at Club Sumo, and I said that would be a bad idea, and it's legal. It's okay. Yeah, he rung my bell a couple times, but she didn't have the same feelings at nationals. I think she was a little bit. a little bit less stressed out at nationals because I was competing against amateurs, not former gold star pros.
Yeah.
I fought him. I think I'd been actually wrestling like 3 months. Pretty brutal awakening for the difference in skill between an amateur and a pro.
I,
But
I,
no,
I do have to say, what was that like, fighting in that big stadium?
so I fought him at Club Sumo, so it was a smaller venue. I did attend when they did theater at Madison Square Garden, which isn't the full shindig. It was this.
Right.
I feel like it's on the side, but still, it's Madison Square Garden. Um, there were definitely some nerves, but I think kind of what I was thrown off the most by was the reasons. Part of the reasons why I like sumo is because it's very respectful. Um,
Mm,
you win or you lose, and you have to bow to your opponent. You have to respect them. You have to say
yeah.
thank you for teaching me where I could improve, or thank you for fighting me, kind of a thing. And WCS took like they strip mined that out of the heart of sumo, and so I was kind of thrown by the trash talking and stuff like that. I didn't listen to what Osuna said after our bouts. I mean, they brought me in within like a week before, and I was the 12th seed, so they expected me to lose. I
Right.
mean, like, that's not why I'm doing sumo. I'm doing sumo to build up my peers, to build myself up, to enjoy the sport, and that's
Yeah.
not where I'm coming from. But it didn't really like phase me. I'd say the crowd so much. I've acted before, and it's not really been an issue with public speaking, so I didn't have like a stage fright aspect of it, so to speak.
But it must be rough going against like such a boogeyman, right? Like I've never had a match against him, but I was definitely there in Alabama for the
World Combat
2022.
Games.
Yeah, world well, not World Combat Games, World Games, World Games.
World Games, yeah,
Yeah.
World Game.
And that was a moment. That was a moment. And I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and back up a little bit because this is getting a little crazy. I'm just going to like be like Homer Simpson and just disappear.
Mhm. There's a surprising amount of former sumo talent that's just hanging around in New York.
Yeah.
More
Ichiro
than
Young was living there during for quite some time.
who?
Ichiro Young, he was at
Oh
Nationals.
yeah. And it was there's a surprising amount of them hanging out here. Like we had Allison Salas. He was one of the wrestlers that I met there. He showed up from Brazil. He's and he was. I was just surprised by how many of them were there and how many had not showed up to train with us. And there's definitely this. He showed up and I think he had a hoodie that said like God of Sumo or King of Sumo or something like that with his own likeness on the hoodie, and I was like, okay, I don't know who you are. I didn't know who he was at the time. I'd only heard about what happened at World Games after the fact,
Right.
and it kind of tracked. But our interaction, he was friendly enough. He was taking it seriously. He didn't take too many opportunities to engage with me on the side because he was fighting.
Yeah.
But my interactions with him and Sazlan were fine. They weren't openly hostile. They were happy to talk a little bit about sumo, and I was fine with it. I ended up I think I like popped some tendon in my finger, and the guys were helping me back there, and they were kind enough. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about sumo is the community itself. Like, yeah, we step into a circle, we have there's a line drawn, and we are about to literally go 100% of our power against another person. We might bonk heads, our hands might hit somebody's face, a nose might get broken. I've fractured one of my occipital bones in my eye. Like that was a thing that happened from my head, but like we just we go hard, and then afterwards we're like, hey, let's take care of each other. It
Yeah.
seems to be like, and I've done a lot of different martial arts, right? I've done everything under the sun for the most part, and sumo is by far the most friendly community. What do you guys have a youth program developing?
We don't. We'd love to. We're also trying to get more women to compete and to train with us. I think some of that is just a difficulty from where we train. We train in like a basement jujitsu gym, which is fine. But from a woman's perspective, from a parent's perspective, it's a little like it's a little scary.
What
I think
what kind of jujitsu gym is it?
BJJ. It's an international. I'm sorry.
Is it like a 10th Planet or?
No, it's International Training Center, Queens Jiu-Jitsu. It's run by Quinn up in Astoria, Queens. So shout out to them. They've been kind enough to have we've been tenants with them every Sunday for a year, more than a year now.
I will recommend that you guys just reach out to them and see if you can do a cross training day with the kids program, and just have them wear just a belt and have them do the simple like sumo hand touching one and work from there. I find that if you make sumo a game, it slowly becomes competitive, and once it becomes competitive, then you'll hook. All you need to do is hook one or two that want to beat each other up, and then the friends are like, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?" Yeah. No, that's definitely a solid approach. Like I'm not like I'm fairly good, I think, at coaching adults, but it's I'm a little like uncertain because you have to consider the parents as well, and like it brings in some extra concerns. I think if we were able to find a different training space that was a little bit brighter, a little bit easier to access, I think that would be something. We are kind of looking on the side to see if we can find something maybe in Chinatown.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we have some kind of connections through some of the, I think it's judo gyms up there.
Why sumo? Tell me why you're doing sumo. Is it power, pride, or show? Why sumo? Every push, every throw, then you're stealing the show.